we're going to go ahead and get started on our paper mache lacquer bowls. And we're going to go with the effect of what these designs look like with the red, black, and gold colors when we're done. So the process of lacquering is done in layers, and that's why we're using paper mache inspired by the lacquer process. So what you'll need are your paper bowls. You can set your one paper bowl as a mold on a paper plate, and then have some extra bowls for water and glue, a newspaper sheet, and then I have some instructions here that we're going to follow to make the paper mache lacquer bowl. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut my newspaper sheet, or you can tear it into strips, and you want to about 1-inch strips. So then I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces to make it easier to cut into strips. Then lay them on top of each other, and then cut them into just about 1-inch strips. And you can tear them too, you don't have to cut them with scissors. And then I'm going to cut them into thirds, and you'll find that that size will be easiest for the size of our bowl. You'll cut all of that down into strips, and it might help to have some kind of tray to put your strips in. You will also want your sketch paper pad, the rice paper. Take one sheet out and cut that into strips about the same size, 1-inch strips too, because we're going to use that. And then you also want some toilet paper, and you want to use toilet paper that is not the cheapest kind. If you have it, that's not the thinnest, because it's going to tear easily. So you want maybe just like 5 sheets of toilet paper for the base layer, and then the top layer we're going to do that too. So I'm going to take my bowl and plate. The first thing you want to do is have some kind of oil or grease. I have coconut oil, but you can use cooking spray or Vaseline, whatever you have around the house. And that's just to create a barrier, just like if you were making cookies or baking a cake, you don't want it to stick to the pan. So since this is our mold, this is our pan, we don't want the paper to stick to this. So you just want to grease it well with the oil or whatever you have, and just use your fingers, and you can use a brush or something if you want, but just make sure that you get that all along the bowl, just like you were greasing a pan. Then, once you've done that, you may have to degrease your hands. Then, the other materials you're going to need, your sponge brush, Mod Podge glue, white acrylic paint, gold acrylic paint, and these are the craft paints, but you can also use the black and red when you do paint from your acrylic box. And then we're going to go ahead and do our base layer, which is going to be a layer of toilet paper. So I'm going to just tear off about 5 sheets, and you can just tear them or cut them. And what I want to do is just lay it down over the bowl in strips. Okay, then get some water. And I'm just going to sprinkle some water over it to dampen it. Then I'm going to take my Mod Podge glue, and you might want to put your mask on. And I know everybody has a mask these days, so if you've got a mask lying around, because this glue does smell and it's really strong. So I'm just going to brush on with my sponge brush a layer of the Mod Podge glue right over that toilet paper, and it's going to be kind of hard because it's going to want to stick to it, but just do the best you can. Alright, and that's probably the best I can do right now. Then I can start putting on the layer of the rice paper. And what you want to do is soak the paper in water first. So just take a strip and dip it in a bowl of water, and then start layering it on top of the toilet paper layer. So this is my first official layer here with the rice paper, and then I'm going to do a layer of newspaper, and you can just lay them right over the edge. We can cut that off when it's dry. So you want about 8 layers. So I'm halfway done on this layer. You can see that Mod Podge on the first layer of newspaper. And then I've got my wet newspaper strips laying down right on top of that. And then I've got some magazine strips too here, but the newspaper really works best because of the thinness, the weight of the paper is just right. The magazine strips are a little bit heavy and they're glossy. Okay, so now once you've done each layer, in between each layer, another layer of the Mod Podge glue. So then once you've got 6 layers of that, then you put another layer of the rice paper and then another layer of the toilet paper. So here I've completed my toilet paper layer, rice paper, 6 layers of newspaper, then another layer of rice paper and toilet paper on top of that, and then with Mod Podge glue in between each layer and on the top one too. So when it's dry, and it's not completely dry yet, but then I should be able to peel the base off completely. But once it's dry, then you can take it out and paint it.